Welcome, everybody, to Trainwrecked Comic Fandom for Life. This is an adults-only channel. I am your host, Joe Vitson. I am an aspiring comic book writer, digital inker, as well as a almost 40-year fan of comic books. Sorry about that. There is no script here, so there will be mistakes at times. Anyways, as a fan of comic books, you might be thinking, well, what can I do right now? Because of this whole thing going on, my local comic book shop is not open. But there are a lot of comic book shops that are still doing online orders. So you can get your comic books there, back orders, of course, because DC and Marvel aren't really putting anything out. I think this week Marvel put out digitally 2 books. DC hasn't put out anything, but I believe they're expecting to put out books sometime at the end of this month. We'll see how that goes because they're going to be using 2 new distributors. They're not going to go through Diamond Comics. They're going to kind of go out on their own. So you might say, well, with all this stuff going on, maybe my shop's small. They're not online. Their doors are closed because of what things are going on. And man, I really want some comic books. Well, my last video, I directed you to Indiegogo. There's a lot of campaigns there by independent creators that you can support. Last video was Spotlight on Vestige #1 by Gat Hanzo and Donald DeLay. It is still in demand on Indiegogo. You can go there. You can order a copy of the book, go through the tiers, find what you want to order. And you should get the book within a week or so. But if you're just jonesing like sometimes I get when it comes to comic books, there's another alternative way to get them, and it's called Walmart. Now you're saying, well, Walmart, for comic books, yeah. DC has put comic books in Walmart. I believe Marvel has in the past, and now there's comics by a company called Allegiance Arts that is showing up in 3,000 Walmarts. So there's no guarantee that your Walmart will have them, but a lot of them should. So if you do a little looking around, and I think there's even a way that you can find what Walmarts the books are in if you go through, I think it's the Allegiant Arts website, or you possibly do it on the Walmart website. I'm not 100% sure. If you do order these books from Walmart online because you don't want to go to a Walmart where there's not one near you, please be prepared that these books are not going to be bag boarded and packaged nicely in a Gemini mailer. They're going to take the books you order, put them into a bubble mailer, and they're going to toss it in the mail, and you'll get them in hopefully somewhat okay condition. I've seen different videos and different posts on social media about some of these books coming rough. I ordered the 4 books that were released this month by them, and they came in fairly okay condition. I was just kind of surprised that they weren't bagged and boarded, but there's 4 books that came out all at once. I think they're planning to do like every other month will be the next issue. The 4 books are Red Rooster, The Futurists, Bass Reeves, and Norah Saga. And this video is going to talk about the Bass Reeves and Norah Saga book. So I'm going to look at the Bass Reeves one here first. I've already read it, but there's some interesting facts and stuff that they provide about the Bass Reeves character. If you don't know, Bass Reeves is actually a real historical individual. And I'm going to read a little bit of what they wrote on the back to kind of sum up who Bass Reeves was. Reeves spent nearly 20 years in his role as the first black U.S. Marshal to serve west of the Mississippi. By the time he retired in 1909, after some 32 years in law enforcement, he laid claim to apprehending more than 3,000 fugitives, facing down some of the most dangerous criminals America's ever known. He was an exemplary lawman, held for his marksmanship, his detective skills, and for an unwavering moral code. That, in one particular dark and telling chapter, even saw him arrest his son for murder. So this is a real character, and flipping through the book, when I first flipped through the book, the first thing I noticed was like the pages are very thick. I don't know what pound these pages are, but they're very thick, very sturdy. The books are floppies, but I think they're of higher quality than what you would get at say, from Marvel or DC at this time. Um, I'm going to go over the credits because I want to give credit where credit is due. Now I know I'm going to botch this first name up, but the writer is Kevin Graveau. Hopefully I got that right. Artist is David Williams. Colorist is Kelly Shannon. Cover, I don't know if they did variant covers, but the cover on this one is David Williams with Kelly Shannon colors. Eric Weathers did lettering. Hernan Octavio was color flatter. Patrick Stiles, editor. Chris Kendrick, design and layout. And this, like I said, is from Allegiance Arts and Entertainment. So going over the book, I really like the style of the artwork. I mean, it's definitely something I would think that you would see from the mainstream if they actually took the time and money to get really good creators. It's not exactly what I would call like 100% American comic book style artwork. It's a little bit more animated looking. I won't say cartoonish because it's not cartoonish, but it's a little bit more animated looking, but it's beautiful. Kelsey Shannon, who I'm a big fan of, did a phenomenal job with the coloring on this. David Williams definitely brings you in with his artwork. I'm imagining he did pencils and inks. I don't know if I can't tell you if they did this like he did this traditionally or digital, but um, it's a phenomenal book, and it kind of introduces you to Bass Reeves, and when he actually takes up the mantle of being a U.S. Marshal. On the Walmart site, which we'll look at in a second, I believe these are selling for $4.98 a book, which is, I think, about a penny less than what you would probably pay for a Marvel book. It's a good illustration of like Bass, what his morals are, how seriously he takes law enforcement, and it really paints him as a very strong, moral, religious person who wants to make the world a better place. I think that's great, and the sad part is he kind of puts it above his family, but it's a very good story. Definitely a recommend read. I read through it very quickly. Not saying that it doesn't have a lot of substance to it, but it was just a really fun read. I like the time period, like in the late 1800s. This is the Wild West, and it's really interesting. And apparently, as I remember, is like he's actually going to be a marshal that actually watches, rides over like Native American um, communities. So it's something that, like, I guess a lot of marshals didn't want. They didn't want to be in charge of the reservations or whatever, but Bass Williams is. So even though technically he doesn't have any um, legal power, I believe, on the reservation, he still helps bring criminals to justice there as well. So he takes them up, I guess, in front of like the Native American Council, or what their legal system is. So it's very good. And then it says the next thrilling episode arrives July 7th. So that's not that far away. So you pick up this book. It's a good read. I recommend you picking up all four of them, just because they do look phenomenal. I haven't read the other two yet, but I'm looking forward to reading them. Norah Saga, same thing, really good paper. It's a floppy. Once again, it's $4.98. This one was written by Blake Northcott. Creator is Patrick Stiles. Artist is Kelly Shannon. Letterer is Eric Weathers. The cover is Kelsey Shannon. Hernan Octavio, once again, is a color flatter. Chris Kendricks, once again, is design and layout. Patrick Stiles is editor. This one, I didn't know if I was going to really like this one, but the more I read it, I really got into it, and I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically this girl that ends up finding herself back in the time of Vikings, because apparently they want to point out that Vikings actually had settlements in Canada, Newfoundland, Canada, and I thought that was really interesting. And this is a young girl trying to adjust to a new school, new town, kind of like the typical, outsider. Oh, you don't dress as good as we do, or and that stuff. And then something happens, and she finds herself in this period of like I said, the Vikings. Excuse me. Um, they notice that her nails are painted black, so then of course they automatically think she's a witch, and they're taking her to. They don't really say if she's going to be taken to trial or just burned at the stake or hung or whatever. But it's a really great read, and I hope I didn't give too much of a spoiler out there, but really great read. Kelsey Shannon's a wonderful artist. Love his stuff. Um, this book could easily be sitting right next to Marvel or a DC book, and I think it would probably sell out before the other two's books were even touched. So, and then in the back of it, there's a little bit about Vikings in Canada, and I'll read that part for you. It doesn't spoil the story. Windland was the name given to a region of North America by the Icelandic Norseman Leif Erikson around 1000 AD. In the 1960s, archaeologists discovered evidence of Viking settlement in Newfoundland, Canada. How far did their adventures take them? No one knows for certain. Not everyone can get as up close and personal with these fearless warriors as our very own Nora Carlson, but you may be closer to these legends than you realize. And they have some really interesting concept art by Kelsey Shannon and also by Matthew Weldon, who's another phenomenal artist, just really, really skilled at his craft. I love Matt's work. I got to work with Matt about 13 years ago when I tried to do my own self-published book called Geist Wunderwust. Oh man, yeah, Geist Wunderwust, which translates from German to Ghost of the Desert. And he actually I did like a little 9-page story or 10-page story that Matthew was good enough to illustrate for me. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't really know anything about marketing my product or myself, and I wasn't big on the social media of the time, and I don't even know if Kickstarter was around. I don't think Indiegogo was around. Kickstarter may have been around back then, but knew very little of it, so I just tried to kind of sell it to some friends and stuff like that. So it wasn't anything of a success, but it was really fun to work with Matt, and he's an awesome artist, and he's only gotten better over time. So let me go over here. We'll do share screen, and I'll let you take a peek at the books at Walmart. Unfortunately, the images aren't showing for some reason, like the main cover. That's a glitch, I think, at Walmart, but you can see a little bit of the page. Beautifully drawn, wonderfully colored. Nice action to it. $4.98. If you order $35 or more, free delivery from Walmart. And I think they do send it FedEx. And then Norah Saga, same thing. Unfortunately, they don't show the cover for some reason, but like there's a page from the interior of it. I don't know how well it looks on this, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting books. Both of them are very, very, very cool. So you can get them. Like I said, they show up there $4.98. Really good. Good books. Highly recommend them. I think I'm going to end the stream now. I don't want this to be too long and me just rambling on. But if you're jonesing for some comic books, they are available if you go to Walmart. Like I said, I think people have found these in like the book and magazine section. Some people have found them in the electronics section. I just ordered them online. Once again, though, they're not going to be packaged like collectibles. They're just going to be slipped into a bubble mailer and sent off. Probably Tomorrow, I will read The Futurists and Red Rooster, and I will do another video talking about those. So hopefully you will tune in, and I thank anybody who is here watching now. It looks like we have one person watching. And I appreciate all the people who come in after this is just up on YouTube. It won't be live, of course, but if you watch it, I appreciate it. Please do feel free to hit thumbs up on it, like the video, share the video if you will. Get my channel out there a little bit. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you are, make sure you're still subscribed, because I know people have been dropped from people's channels for some reason. I don't think they're going to bother me with me because I'm a really small channel, but you never know. So, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to try to do at least one live stream a week. This is my second live stream ever, and it's the second live stream of the week. I just want to talk about comic books and things like that. And hopefully once the channel builds up, I'm going to try to find people who want to come on and just talk comics, have a great time, maybe talk some about the movies. I do like a lot of the Marvel movies that are out there. The DC movies I like, but I definitely feel like Marvel put a lot more effort into their movies. I don't know what these new Marvel movies are going to be like. A lot of people feel that they're going to be probably woke hot messes, but I'm not sure. I'm going to hold out until the movies come out and see for myself. But maybe I'll have people come on talk about those or whatever. It's just I want to grow this channel, and I thank everybody for their support. I know these are really trying times for everybody, so stay safe. Look out for yourself, your family, your friends, your neighbors. I know. I think Los Angeles, I don't know if it was California or just Los Angeles, kind of extended their stay at home indefinitely. And a lot of people are uptight about that. I'll tell you, I worked in the medical profession for over 20, 21 or 22 years, I'm going to say roughly about 22 years, for about 22 years, in the military and as a civilian. I see a lot of people, posting comments like, I'm not going to wear a mask or this and that. And it's like, that's your choice. But, please keep in mind, it does, even if they're not N95 or N99 masks, any mask will provide you some level of protection from this. And I know people are just kind of playing it off like, oh, this is nothing worse than the flu. Well, unfortunately, we hit the annual flu death rate within 3 months with this situation going on right now. And I know people are antsy. I know people have to get back to work. They have to make money to support their families. And I feel for you, but it's like, you know what, even when you go back, be cautious, wear a mask if that's what makes you feel comfortable. Wash your hands, you know, um, sanitize your areas with, Lysol wipes or whatever kind of disinfectant wipe you can get, just to keep yourself safe and healthy. It's like, this might blow all over, really soon, or it might be something that stays with us for a little bit of time. And I fully understand people need to get back to work. They need to make the money. They need to provide for themselves and their families. But, I hope we can do it safely. And, I'm not somebody I'm not going to sit here and blame this side or blame that side. I think a lot of mistakes were made along the way, and that's kind of it. We're seeing, we see how New York got hit by it really hard. Los Angeles has been hit by it fairly hard. The Midwest was kind of spared some, and that's good. But now we're hearing reports of countries like Germany they opened up and now they're spiking again. So I don't know when this is all going to end, but it's like I see a lot of hostility and anger online. And, for me, it's just, people are going to do what they're going to do. But, wearing masks doesn't hurt you in any way, shape, or form. It might be a slight inconvenience, but, when isn't life sometimes a slight inconvenience? Wash your hands a little bit more, disinfect, clean a little bit more. you know, don't take a risk, because everyone sits there and says, "Oh, well, I'm this age, and I'm not going to be affected by this," and it's we don't even know exactly what the permanent damage from what's going on is going to be to the body. We're everyone's learning as they go. So I don't think it's a folly to sit there and protect yourself. But anyways, guys, I'm sorry for preaching. This was just supposed to be a review about two comic books, and I kind of went off in a different direction. Hey, once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, give it a thumbs up, share it if you will, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I want to grow this channel. Just not because I want to sell something, because I do want to put a book together sometime in the future. It might be this year, it might be next year. It's just I want to get to know people. I want to be able to talk with people. I want to have a great time. Sit around, talk about comic books. You bring people in. People can share their experience of, like, what was your first comic book, or what made you a comic book fan, or why'd you like this movie, or why didn't you like this movie. I just want it to be a fun place. So sorry about that last part about what's going on, but that's the end of it. You won't hear any more from me. Thank you so much once again. Take care and stay safe.